I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. Aurora's getting wild.
Man, I didn't even bring my beer hat. Didn't know we're having a wild party in Aurora.
Dude, it is going to provide a lot of content for the Jeff and Bill show coming up here as Aurora City Council passes resolution opposing, quote, unlawful and overreaching, unquote, ICE actions, according to Denver 7. Joining us live in studio. We're honored to have her. I think this might, maybe you joined us on Zoom, but the first time we've had you live in studio here before, Stephanie Hancock, Aurora City Councilwoman. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And these are some familiar stomping grounds you were telling us.
Yeah, back in the day, in the 90s, I worked at this station as a producer. So, yeah.
See, you can go on to bigger and better things in radio.
You mean there's a shot? I've still got hope. Okay.
Saying there's a shot.
My mom's going to be happy that some point in life I might become productive. That's good. That's good.
Right. Stephanie Hancock, she represents Ward 4 on the Aurora City Council, and things have changed, huh?
Significantly.
Tell us about that.
Well, in this past election, as with a lot of elections across the country, the governing bodies have gone decidedly progressive.
And was this the first big meeting on Monday of the new city council? Because it seems like things have gotten spicy very quickly.
Well, this is the first meeting of the new year, official full meeting since the full council was seated. And yeah, we went off with a bang this year.
We're going to dive all into it. Where is Aurora going? What type of resolutions are they passing? Is it going to make an impact? How's law enforcement responding? We're going to cover all of that with Stephanie Hancock live in studio. You're welcome to give us a call if you'd like to join the conversation at 303-696-1971 or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line 720-819-5115. Now is time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. It's hump day. 40 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 55 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the Supreme Court has yet to rule on the legality of 47's global tariffs. The justices issued opinions today, but didn't issue a ruling related to the tariffs. Monday, Trump said that, quote, we are screwed if the high court rules against the tariffs. The court's decision could have massive implications for American consumers and businesses, the economy, and presidential authority. The DOJ says there won't be an investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good by an ICE agent in Minneapolis last week. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche made the announcement on Tuesday. DJT says that cities that provide sanctuary to illegals will lose federal funding on February 1st.
During a speech in Detroit Tuesday, Trump said starting in February, his administration will not make payments to sanctuary cities or states that have sanctuary cities, claiming they, quote, do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens. 12 states and 5 of the country's biggest cities have laws prohibiting cooperation with immigration agents. I'm Monica Nelson.
Top White House officials are gathering with foreign ministers of Denmark and Greenland as 47 ramps up his talk of acquiring Greenland. This morning in a Truth Social post, Trump said that NATO should be leading the way for the U.S. to acquire Greenland. Great point. They're not interested in helping America. You can count on that. Matt Sharp, Alliance Defending Freedom, on with Jeff and Billy this morning. It appears the Supreme Court will uphold states' transgender athlete bans. Tuesday, the justices heard 2 cases challenging whether states can ban transgender girls. men from participating in girls and women's sports. The 6-3 conservative majority seems poised to uphold the bans. Here's Matt Sharp.
Well, immediately the ACLU sues, challenges these laws, and those cases have now bubbled up to the U.S. Supreme Court, where the court is looking at simply the question of, under the Constitution and Title IX, can states pass laws that say a man, no matter how he identifies, cannot participate on a women's sports team? The arguments went very well overall. I think we had some great questions from the justices, especially ones getting to the flaws in the ACLU's argument, the flaws that we don't know what it means to be a man and woman. So overall, I was very encouraged and optimistic that we're going to get a good victory in this case.
Big practice day today for the Broncos as they get ready for the Bills Saturday at Mile High. At 2:30 kickoff, divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Head coach Sean Payton wants to hear from the fans this weekend.
For years, we were conditioned to raise the noise level when they broke the huddle. The noise level needs to be loudest when they enter the huddle. Hey, can we do that collectively for 120? No, I don't need it. I just need it for half the snaps in the game, right? So, let's say 65 snaps, 10 seconds. That's a huge advantage.
Nobody
like
does
that.
it better. Yeah,
I like that
pretty
idea.
cool.
That's kind of cool. It's something that has
Absolutely.
happened in the last couple of years, the idea of disrupting them inside of the huddle. Because, yeah, for years, it was always don't let them hear the snap count, disrupt at the line of scrimmage. Didn't even consider doing it at the huddle. I'm going to have to, I'm going to end up going to the game this Saturday, so, I'm going to have to warm up my
We need to hear
throat.
you.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
Come on now.
Yeah. You know, okay.
The brother changed the flight.
Yeah,
he made
did.
it happen.
Yeah, well, he's changed it. We'll see if he can make it here. Here's the thing that I do is I know a lot of people go, way up high. No. Lower resonance. Keep your voices down.
Good point.
The bass overrides conversation and communication. If you want them to not hear what's happening inside of the huddle, the entire stadium should just go, ah. They won't hear a damn thing. That's the thing. Do not go high.
Point.
Lower resonance will prevent the communication. That's what'll help.
If only 70,000 people or 80, 100,000 people had voices like you, Billy, it'd be great.
That'd be a lot of fun. The next thing I want is I really have this desire for us to get a Broncos song. There are all sorts of songs that are sung at the grounds throughout international soccer. And I think it would be wonderful for Broncos fans to develop a couple of songs, especially if you can hear them through the TV. Like, let's say we're spanking some team like, I don't know, let's just pull one randomly. Oh, yeah, the Raiders. Yeah, they suck. We're just beating the Raiders by like 35 points. Love you, Gabe, out there. And we're beating them by like 35 points. And all of a sudden through the TV, you hear Broncos country singing, can we play you every week? Can we play you every week? Oh, please, NFL, let us play them every week. I mean, that would be fantastic. That's what I want. But I don't know if I'm going to fulfill my wish.
Too.
I know. It'd be great.
I love it. Let's be more like Europe at Mile High
without the road flares. Let's not, no. Don't need those in the stadium. No.
Exactly. There's no chance then. Mike Tomlin stepping down as head coach of the Steelers, 19 seasons, one Super Bowl victory, never a losing season, but it's time for both parties to go their own direction here. Jamal Murray, 35 points. Nuggets over the Pelicans, 122-116. 35 in Westminster, 33 in Castle Rock, 36 in Denver. And you're waking up with Jeff and Billy, a special guest in studio. It's Wednesday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Expect a lot of high and mid-level clouds today, but mild, upper 50s and lower 60s. There is a very small chance of a rain or snow shower tonight as a weak disturbance passes through, lows in the low to mid-30s. Partly cloudy, a little cooler, mid-50s Wednesday, low to mid-30s Wednesday night, 55 to 60 on Thursday. It will trend colder for Friday and Saturday. Friday and Saturday's highs back down into the 40s with overnight lows in the low to mid-20s. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Just when you thought that Aurora was getting pretty cool, things were turning around. They were attacking the crime problems. I mean, Danielle Jurinsky literally taking on Venezuelan gangs and Jared Polis and Kyle Clark all at the same time, and felt like the community was getting to a place where it was pretty good. Voters just threw a whole bunch of communists back in and got rid of folks like Danielle Jurinsky. And Stephanie Hancock's got to be sitting there during this Aurora City Council meeting, new one with a whole bunch of communists now running the city, going, what has happened? Well, she joins us live in studio right now. Stephanie Hancock, Aurora City Councilwoman, thank you for taking the time this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks for having me this morning.
All right, so your job's changed. Let's say you went from the majority into the minority now.
That is true.
Tell us about the makeup of the city council. Tell us about your job. Tell us how you think Aurora's going to change now.
Well, the makeup of the council is 6-4, conservative, progressive in the majority now. It's changed significantly because, from my perspective and what has been demonstrated, we have ideologues that are now running the city, not necessarily people who have life experience, practical experience, or even have actually had jobs in business or private jobs. They haven't owned their own businesses. So they're really ideologues.
And we saw this in the first meeting of the new year, the city council passing a resolution opposing the, quote, unlawful and overreaching, unquote, of ICE actions. What did they, and this was like a 3-hour meeting Monday night. Tell me about it.
It was a madhouse on Monday. It really was... From my perspective, the city council has no authority to be involved in this at all. Talking about what is happening in other parts of our country really doesn't affect what we should be doing in the city of Aurora. Roads, jobs,
this
business.
was in response to what happened in Minnesota, right?
That is correct. And, it opens up, whereas we stand in solidarity with Minnesota and the murder of a person, and the jury is still out. The investigation hasn't been complete. I don't think it's appropriate for us to even comment on this as a governing body, let alone have a resolution about it. ICE is a federal organization. The state and the municipality have no role in what ICE does as a federal agency. And for us to make a statement about it exposes us, I believe, to consequences that we may not even be aware of at this point.
So what I'm hearing from Stephanie Hancock is that if the Aurora City Council makes statements about stuff that is not happening in our community, oddly, things in the community don't get better. That's weird. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, it's as you mentioned, political grandstanding, it sounds like. And the Aurora police chief had some comments to say about this, right?
He did, and he was spot on by saying that Aurora police do not actively engage or involve themselves in ICE operations. So that is really the long and the short of it. For me and for our council, we should not insert ourselves in these things. I think it exposes us to unnecessary exposure that we shouldn't even be getting involved in, period. We just shouldn't.
That's Stephanie Hancock. She sits on the Aurora City Council. Once a conservative-dominated city council, now is flipped as Danielle Jurinsky and others lost their re-election bids, has now become progressive. So they're already jumping in and making some changes. But you have had to deal with these folks for a while. Good friend of the program, big fan Tay Anderson, regularly shows up at your events to try to create some problems, doesn't he?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm watching Stephanie do her very best to contain herself.
I mean, that guy, him and those of his ilk really do not help us move forward. They're just disruptors, as I've said before, provocateurs, opportunists, people that really want to make a name for themselves at the expense of others, i.e. the city council.
Wow. So what do you want to see Aurora do? I mean, what are we just settling in for 2 years of these types of position statements, political provocateur activities, as you mentioned? Is this just what Aurora's going to be, and major issues like trying to deal with crime, improving education are just going to go by the wayside?
I believe this council's focus is on attacking the police, number one, to dismantle, disrupt, and destroy everything that has been done in the past 2 years. We're looking at wide-ranging impacts on camping ban, retail theft, police action, police-involved activities when in terms of how we're going to handle criminal activity. I think people, if they get their way, people will feel less safe. Businesses will be less likely to come here. We're not going to have the capacity to create jobs that we want to because people do not want to be here. If you don't feel safe, you're not going to come. You're not going to shop. You're not going to bring a new business here. The draconian things that they want to do in terms of legislation to impede business growth is very concerning to me.
Wow, that's Stephanie Hancock. She sits on the Aurora City Council. She actually represents the place where this studio is right here. It's a real honor to have you in studio. Let's talk about the election because, I mean, look, we're a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So it seems like the people are choosing this. Right? Is this what they want? What happened during the last election? Because I was a big fan of Steve and Danielle. I thought they were doing great work, but I don't live in Aurora, and apparently the people of Aurora said no.
Well, as it is in off-year elections, people become ambivalent, and they don't turn out in the numbers that they should. We had 100,000 people choose the course of the city of Aurora. We're a 400,000 plus member city, and this is the choice that we have, and this is what we got.
Do you think Trump created a problem for Danielle and Steve? I mean, this became the center point of his operation regarding mass deportations and Tren de Aragua. He called it Operation Aurora. I was at the event. I think you were at the event too. Do you think that backfired in your analysis?
Well, you know, TDS is real. Let me just say that. And I think the progressives latched on to that as their calling cry to get those who were activated to come and vote. I mean, the activists did a lot of work banging that drum, saying that Aurora's worse off because Trump came. And I don't think it's a fair analysis of it. I mean, all politics are local. So let's look at what's happening in our city. Yes, President Trump did a fly-in and he did his thing and exposed Tren de Aragua. But the thing that hurt us, I feel, is that it painted our whole city as being invaded, and our whole city wasn't invaded. It was just a section of the community that was impacted. And I think what our police and what ICE agents and what our municipal government did in shutting down those apartment buildings was a good thing. The negative aspect of that is that it was attached to everyone on the city council. So they used it effectively to demonize the entire council.
That's Stephanie Hancock. Stephanie, I wonder, you're out there talking to voters. You hear directly from them. Because I look at, like, for instance, what Democrats like Phil Weiser are running on, which is just Trump opposition all day, every day. Right, Phil Weiser, I mean, he's like, I'm about 50 plus lawsuits against Trump right now. And I get his fundraising emails, and it's like another one and another one. And it sounds like I forget the name of that rapper where he just goes in another one. And I'm like, well, he's probably going to win on it. Phil Weiser's not running on what he delivered for the people of Colorado. He's just running on, I'm not Trump, and I'm fighting Trump, and we're fighting Trump every single day.
Yeah.
And voters are like, yes. Are you hearing that? Is that what people want in Aurora? Just fight Trump? Or do they want services provided, crime addressed? I mean, help me understand that.
Well, the overwhelming emails and text messages that I get on my phone 24/7, and let me just remind people that city council is a part-time job. So most of us have full-time jobs, but I work 24/7, as it turns out. My overwhelming response is, OMG, Aurora's going down the toilet. What has happened? And I'm like, did you vote? Because if you didn't vote, then you get what you got. But most people want to be able to go somewhere without being molested. They want crime to be decreased. They want to be able to shop without worrying about being robbed. I mean, these are the things that people care about. We want to build up our city, but crime is the number one thing that our constituents are concerned about.
That's Stephanie Hancock. Stephanie, I think you're going to be up for re-election around the same time Mike Kaufman is, right? Which
yes.
would be 2027.
2027.
So we're going to go through the midterms, and then you guys will be an off-year election after that. Give me your run right now. I mean, you're still, a year plus. We're going to have a whole nother election between now and then, but are you planning to run for re-election?
I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting that you say that, because the progressives are now undertaking an effort to change how our elections go. They want our elections to be the same as the national elections.
Really?
Yes. They're working on a charter change. That's what this would be, is a charter change that would go before the people, the citizens of Aurora. So what they're trying to do is to change those elections. And they feel like if they can do that, then most people will vote top of the ballot all the way down. And if it happens to be a Democrat, will be a Democrat-run city in perpetuity. And that is their goal.
Wow. I mean, those are big changes to Aurora.
Yeah, they're very big changes. And
so
it's important for people to be awake. They have to understand what is happening here. This is an insidious attempt to really take the voting influence away from the people and put it somewhere else.
Right, with parties and power
Yes.
and all that type of stuff. Why do you think that happens? For instance, when I worked in Lakewood for years, we looked at the fact that the Lakewood City Council was entirely dominated by this workers' families party, which was just another term for communists. And I'm sitting there going, why do people keep electing communists to take over their cities? They're not even Democrats. They're not even socialists. They're like right there, right on the edge.
Yeah.
And people, help me understand why you think the voters of Colorado are going, that's who we want leading our cities.
I wish I had a magic pill to answer that question. I think voter apathy, they're tired. People are tired. And I think the national media, even the local media, does not help, because they continually push this narrative that drones and drowns people out. It's designed to really isolate, to eliminate any kind of opposition, and it's designed to humiliate those who do oppose. And so people get to the place where they just don't want to be exposed to that. I mean, if you came to our council meeting on Monday, 3 people had the courage to come and speak in opposition to this ridiculous resolution that really has no teeth. There were probably 100 folks there that were in favor of this, from the Socialist Party and the People's Workers Party and, all these outliers and crazy people. That's what I'm going to call them, because they were screaming and cursing and being disrespectful, but they want you to respect them. Yeah. And the 3 people, bless their hearts, who came up to oppose this, they couldn't even go to the podium without screaming, clicking, yelling, insults being hurled at them from the audience. And I applaud those 3 people who came and stood up.
And was one of them Danielle Jurinsky's dad?
One of them was Danielle Jurinsky's 81-year-old dad.
And they booed
and hissed. Sunny, bless her heart, she came and spoke. They hissed and booed. She was afraid to even walk to her car. Kelly, he stood up and said something. They hissed and booed. I mean, they had very cogent arguments. I thought we lived in a democracy, but apparently if you do not agree, they're coming for you.
And that's part and parcel with any time communists get control of anything. They shut down their opposition. In fact, I guess we should be lucky they're not dragging us out into pits and shooting us. But that's the dynamic that I'm kind of intrigued by. You had 100 socialists and communists show up motivated to fight this, and 3, what I would say is probably just regular Americans that showed up to fight it.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things that take place. One is this is in part due to our education system that's kind of preparing these kids to become activists and Democrat voters and all that. I think that's what government-run education is geared to do. They come out all supporting the Democrat Party. They all believe Republicans are Nazis and need to be confronted. And so you have that system at work. But then, too, I don't think people realize what's happening to the leadership of their localities, right? They're busy with raising kids and running a business and trying to be a good person. Meanwhile, they're not paying attention to the fact that their city council is now run by communists.
Yeah. It's very interesting how this dynamic has shifted, because the fear that people have, and I just want to say about 30 people on the opposition who were opposed to this legislation, this resolution, wanted to come. They wanted to call in. Our call-in line isn't effective. It isn't online anymore. So we're talking about having that be reinstalled so people can call in, because they're legitimately afraid. And I can see, and being the object of some of that ire myself, as a person who's coming to express their opinion, to have, cogent discourse, dialogue. This is what our republic was founded on, right? So to have them not be able to come because of fear for their own safety, that's a problem. But the progressives don't see a problem with that. If you agree, then fine, come on in. We're going to just let you just bloviate, spew violence, curse and be out of character and lose your mind in front of the dais. But if you want to say something that's contrary to our programming, we're coming for you.
Wow, that's Stephanie Hancock. By the way, her website, stephanie4aurora.com. She sits on the Aurora City Council. How's Mike Kaufman going to manage all this?
Oh, boy. I feel bad for the mayor. I do. I feel bad for the mayor because he's walking a tightrope. And because we're a city manager council-led government, he's in a really particularly precarious position in that he doesn't have the tie-breaking vote anymore. He did at one point before I was on council. He had the tie-breaking vote. He doesn't anymore. And so he's trying to placate to these people to try to stay in the middle of the road at least, so that we don't have just crazy legislation being passed out of our council.
I mean, do you think that your police chief's going to stick around if he doesn't have the support of his city council and they're going to handcuff him?
Oh, Lord, I hope so. Todd Chamberlain does not strike me as a man who's easily shattered or rattled by these things. What I appreciate, and I interviewed him on the council when we hired Todd Chamberlain, statistics and data. He's a data-driven and statistics guy, and he's also really big on training for our officers. You can't argue with the statistics. Crime is down. Retail theft is down. It's horrible in this state, with $1.2 billion stolen out of our businesses across the state. But it's down in Aurora. Home invasions are down. Even murders are down. Now that criminals know that we are going to pursue you as APD when you come into Aurora, that has had a huge impact on how our city runs, and our citizens see it. They feel it. They understand it, and that's what they want. But when I ran for office, I told my constituents I will work as hard as I can to make sure that we bring down crime, that we address the homelessness issue, that we attract new business to our community. And I've stuck to those three things. I wanted people to know, and I still want people to know, that if you're coming into Aurora to do crime and any other kind of negative shenanigans that will impact our community, we're coming for you.
I love that. I hope the voters will keep you around. Is there any chance, or is it a 4-year progressive ownership of Aurora City Council at this point? Because you're up in 2 years, but is there an opportunity for conservatives to get it back, or are you stuck 4 years?
There is an opportunity. We'll have 5 seats up, and so we could flip it back. I mean, people need to be engaged. One of the messages that I've been really proclaiming from the rooftops, and I have town halls every other month. I had my last town hall last Thursday. It was well attended. About 60 people showed up. And what I tell people is, you have got to get off your hands. You have got to show up. I need you to call into the these committee meetings, because committee meetings are where decisions are made. By the time you hear it on the council floor while we're on the dais, the decision has already been made, much like it has down at the state capitol. So as we are having public meetings, the public safety, horns, which is housing, parks and rec, our Pfizer committee, which is legislative, intergovernmental affairs, those committee meetings are important. As a public person, you can't call in, you can't say anything, you can't vote, but you need to listen. We need to put sunlight on what is being happening, what's happening when the sausage is being made, if you will. There are things that are being proposed that will hurt our city, and we need our constituents to get involved. We need you to show up at these town halls. We need you to make your voice heard. We need you to write letters. We need you to be engaged. If you don't, you're going to get what you got right now, which is a progressive majority that wants to drag us backwards.
Whoa, bro, clip that. That was awesome. That's Stephanie
It's
Hancock.
the truth.
She's fired up.
It's the truth.
She is fired up and she's bringing the truth on the Jeff and Bill Show. I love it. We're going to continue this conversation. Feel free to give us a call if you'd like to participate. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Campos Law text line at 720-819-5115. Let's talk advanced hair restoration. How about a simple New Year's resolution, one that even I could achieve? Reverse the clock on hair loss with Advanced Hair's simple one-day FUE treatment. You'll feel more confident and more youthful when you witness your own natural hair growing into those places that have been balding or thinning for years. From Advanced Hair's breakthrough technology to their highly experienced team, there's no one I trust more in hair restoration. Their simple FUE treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. Simply put, Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care makes your comfort and your results their top priority. Celebrate this new year with a fuller head of hair and get a free consultation, $250 off, and 250 free hair grafts. Call 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. Discover what meeting your resolution could look like with the before and after pictures at advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com. We'll continue with a feisty, fired up Stephanie Hancock next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We're live in studio with Stephanie Hancock. She's a Republican councilwoman in Aurora, talking to us about the communist takeover of the Aurora City Council. Great. Lovely. Just as things were getting pretty good, those Democrats with TDS went, we don't care about crime. We just don't want anyone Republicans in control, and the community gets worse. I'm always intrigued by what they're willing to sacrifice to not elect Republicans. Let's go to the phone lines. Marcus in Aurora. Marcus, good morning. You're on with Jeff, Bill, and Stephanie Hancock.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Hey, you're great, Steph. I just got one question about City Council. Up there, I vote every year, but they want to eliminate ICE from coming out into Aurora and doing what they have to do, and that's in the vote right now. So I just wanted to know your opinion.
Well, we are prohibited from impeding federal agents from doing their job. We don't APD does not actively participate in ICE activities, as they are a federal agency and we are a municipality. That is not our role. But if they're called on to do something, that's up to the chief of police to decide how that works. It's not in our best interest to get involved in ICE operations, but people want to feel safe. And a lot of times, what happens are people are impacting folks in our communities with crime. And if there's a crime aspect, that is the part that Aurora Police participate in. If you happen to be here, and it doesn't matter, they don't ask your immigration status. If you commit a crime in the city of Aurora, APD will arrest you, and you will face those consequences. And that's the barrier that APD has.
But why is this involved with City Council? They want to vote on ICE not coming in. That's the thing I don't understand.
This is not a city council issue. They made it an issue. The fact that they're making a commentary at all about this, to me, is inappropriate. But because there are 6 of them and 4 of us, they chose to do this. And they can vote. I think someone said if we have 6 votes, we can cram through whatever we want. That's what is causing me to be very concerned, because the things they want to do that are hard left, just dragging our city in a direction that I think most voters did not vote for. That's what we got.
And look, I also think we're seeing localities particularly act antagonistically towards ICE. So it's not just that they don't want ICE here, they're sending a message, but you're seeing examples across the country where local officials are particularly fighting against ICE. Like, for example, when they won't just hand over a criminal to ICE, they push them out the front door. They allow these guys to take off running, and then ICE has to go chase them down. And it's almost like some stupid comedy sketch where rather than just keeping the guy handcuffed and adding a second layer of handcuffs, removing the first layer, and then putting him in the back of a car and driving him to the airport and deporting him, we're going to push him out the front door and let ICE chase him around the parking lot. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And I think, unfortunately, that might be coming more and more to Colorado. What do you think, Marcus?
I'm going to still vote for Stephanie anytime, anywhere.
She's one of the good ones left. She is one of the good ones left. And in fact, 5631 texted in, Stephanie Hancock for governor.
That's it.
That's awesome. I just want to be clear that local law enforcement, their resources remain focused on local crime, not federal enforcement. But the narrative that's coming down from the top, from the progressives and the communists in our national government, they're pushing this down locally because they want everybody to sing out of the same hymnal. Okay, we're anti-ICE. When exactly what Clinton, Obama, even Biden, said people who are here, who jumped the fence, who came here illegally and are committing crimes first and foremost, but are here illegally. They broke the law. We have a law. If we don't have laws that protect our citizens, what do we have? We have anarchy. And there are those, that's exactly what they want. They want chaos. They want to dismantle, disrupt, and destroy everything in this country that we fundamentally find good.
That's Stephanie Hancock. She serves on the Aurora City Council. Marcus, I sure appreciate the call. Thank you. Marcus's line will be open if you'd like to join us, 303-696-1971. Is Aurora the second biggest city or third?
We're the third largest
Springs
city.
Is the second.
Mm-hmm.
So Colorado Springs no longer has a Republican mayor. That's gone. Aurora City Council did have conservative takeover, but that's now gone. So the three biggest cities, probably 5, 6, 7 biggest cities in Colorado now all run by Democrats.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get what we get. Because you find that in most Democrat cities across the country, where Democrats are in control, we have rising crime, homelessness, we have housing issues. All the bad things that people don't want are happening in these cities. And instead of addressing those problems head on, which is what municipalities should be doing, they're wasting time virtue signaling on things that are happening somewhere else and then blame it's all Trump's fault. The first thing out of people's mouths anymore is it's Trump. That's why I say TDS is real. Let's focus on crime. Let's focus on affordability. Let's focus on bringing new businesses and jobs into our city. Let's focus on making sure that our citizens feel safe and that people want to come to Aurora to visit because we have such great things going on in our city. We have the best food culture in the state with over 160 languages spoken in our city. We are the most diverse city, I would say, in the state. So to say that we are antithetical against immigrants is crazy. That is just, but again, that doesn't fit the narrative. If we promote that our city is good and that we do great things, in my ward, we are the food capital of this city. You can eat around the world in Ward 4.
Yeah, seriously, just down the road from here. There's
and delicious things.
Yemenis food and all that stuff.
Yes,
wow.
Everything. But the narrative is that we should be against each other. And as long as people are pitted against each other and we're fighting each other, then, it's kind of like Oz. And ignore the man behind the curtain while we do these shenanigans over here. And we're taking your life from you bit by bit by bit. Not only your life, but your freedom, your safety, your security, your own personality. We're taking that away from you under the guise of, look, let's get rid of rugged individualism, right? And embrace the collective. That's what we want you to do. The warmth of collectivism. Let's do that. Circa, 1984, that was prophetic. Here we are. We're living in it in 2026.
We love having you here. Stephanie Hancock, fired up on the Jeff and Bill Show. People love what you're saying. They want to know where you went to school.
Well, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, the greatest city in America. No, I'm originally from Pittsburgh, and I joined the Air Force right out of high school. Yeah. I was stationed at Norton Air Force Base in Southern California for 3 years, and then I came here in the 70s.
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to Texas Southern University in Houston, Texas. Yes, I'm a communications graduate.
There it is, communications. People are like, wow, she's
My mom used to have me prayed for when I was a kid because she said, you just talk way too much. And when I got elected to office, I told Mom, I said, see, Mom, my talking is paid off for me. God rest her soul.
Absolutely. It's connecting with our listeners. I love it. All right, we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Communists have taken over the City Council of Aurora. Yay. She's like the last reasonable person left. I think there's a few of you guys.
Does that mean we have to get a new flag?
Yeah, I know. Exactly. You will obey. Can you set us up with Tay Anderson? I'd love to have him on the show sometime.
Only if we can I can punch him out in the ring.
Okay, she's my favorite.
I mean, people are they're real chatty, and they love
that's
to
gonna
yell.
get clipped. Channel 9's would be like,
I didn't
councilwoman threatens
personally.
Babyface
Oh
Tay
my
Anderson.
gosh, clutch the pearls.
It's one of those things where you don't necessarily have a favorite player on the team until they do something like that. Now I have a favorite Aurora City Council member again. Yes, I do. Thank you, Stephanie. I have a favorite now.
Let's go to the phone lines. Frank in Denver. Good morning, Frank. You're on with Jeff, Bill, and Stephanie Hancock.
Good morning.
Hey, Stephanie, you sound like the only Republican in Aurora with a spine. Thank you for your position and your clarity on this issue. And I want you to come back regularly to visit this radio station and inform us of what the socialist commies sing in their sweet song, as Peter Boyle says, keep BSing the people of Aurora with.
Well, I think it's very important, and I'd be happy to. I think it's important for our story to be told. The thing that concerns me about conservatives and the GOP in general is we're allowing everybody else to tell our story. We need to tell our own story. We need to not let other people define us. This is straight out of Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You marginalize people, you harass people, you threaten people, you do all these things to make them scared, so then they won't step out. But I'm not that guy. You come
Stephanie
to council.
Hancock. I love it. We got a break here, but Stephanie, you're wonderful. Go to Stephanie4Aurora.com, the number 4, Stephanie4Aurora.com to connect with her. Thank you so much. You've been listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are 710 KNUS. Have a good day.